Today we're talking about the most important topic when it comes to starting your tuning adventures. It is tuning fundamentals. Stick around. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage, and today we're diving into tuning fundamentals, which is what I'm going to say is the most important video to start your tuning adventure that I will probably make. This is the foundation. We are literally building a tuning house. We've got to build this foundation first, and this is where we're going to do it. Now, before I jump into it, let me get all the stuff out of the way that I have to get out of the way. Make sure that you make sure you're subscribed. There's going to be so many videos this year talking about tuning and getting started. Specifically, my goal in 26 is to get more of you out there tuning your own vehicles. And we all start right here in the fundamentals. And in fact, this is just going to be a whiteboard heavy video. Let's jump over to the whiteboard so we can see what's going on. And we're going to talk about tuning fundamentals here. We've got our foundation, and this is what we're going to be focused on, and this is our tuning house. Look, it's a mid-century modern house with a bunch of garages. There's our door, our tuning house. We'll call it the TH. So whenever it comes to tuning, we've got a couple different things that we have to look at about how the motor works. That's the important part of understanding exactly how our motor works, whether or not we're on, some kind of V8 up here, an inline six. You like my representations? Whatever it is, supercharged, turbocharged, naturally aspirated. All these things matter when it comes to how we tune. So in modern cars, really since the early 2000s, we've got a couple different ways that have been heavily employed. One of them is going to be mass airflow. You're going to hear a lot about MAF, and the other one's going to be VER, volumetric efficiency. Now, this gets kind of messed up and confused with SD, which is speed density. These are technically two different ways of adjusting fueling on vehicles, but we kind of loop these into one group because they work a lot the same. And this is the other group. Now, if you're on Ford or Dodge or something like that, it may only have one or the other. So be aware of what your platform uses, mass airflow or VESD. Now, this is the basic airflow calculation, and you'll find out over time airflow calculation is the most important thing. Whenever we're tuning a car, we're actually tuning the airflow calculation, the metering, the measurement of the airflow is what we're doing. And so that's why mass airflow and VE are so important. Let's go ahead and just back this up a little bit, clear this screen out some. There's a bunch of modifiers that come in and connect off of this that both MAF and VE work. So if we have a system that has both MAF and VE, those combined are called dynamic airflow. Dynamic airflow used really heavily in GM platforms, Dodge and Ford less so much. Other manufacturers, I don't know. But dynamic is kind of our final airflow calculation. Then we have other things that come in and apply to modifiers, things like engine coolant temp, IAT, which is your intake air temp. All of these are modifiers on here. So think of these as, okay, we get a multiplier from there, we get a multiplier from there, and then that technically probably comes in before we get our dynamic airflow. But then we have our dynamic airflow, and that is our final airflow target. Now, you hear me talking about airflow a lot right now, and you're like, why are we focusing on airflow whenever we're tuning? Fuel delivery is derived directly from our airflow. So if we're floating X pounds per hour of air, we can use that to determine how much fuel. We have an air to fuel ratio that we're targeting. If we're targeting 0.85 lambda, which is about 12.5 to 1 AFR, and I highly suggest working in lambda instead of working in AFR. That's a topic for a different day, but it's a lot easier down the road. What we're saying is, to achieve this much AFR 8.5, we've got to measure how much air is, then we add that amount of fuel to get that goal. So that's why airflow is so important. Airflow is going to be the number one thing that I always stress upon for people whenever it comes to learning. Learn how your engine breathes. Learn how it uses that data to calculate the amount of air that's involved, and that's how it gets its fueling. Now, we'll talk about mass airflow real quick. Mass airflow, pretty awesome. It's been around for a while. Back in the day, they had some funky ways of doing it. Nowadays, we're using just a standard hot wire, and essentially what you've got is you've got a wire that sits in the intake track. As air flows over it, woo, that's air, by the way, woo, it cools off this wire. And so we have to drive it with more voltage, more frequency in this case, to try and maintain a target. Say we've got a target of 100 degrees Celsius on that wire. The more air that flows over it cools it off. The cool thing about this is this is mass airflow. It takes into account automatically the temperature of the air. Warmer air is not going to extract heat from that wire quite as quick as colder air. And so whenever we have colder air, the air is denser, and so it requires a higher frequency to get in there and actually, drive that hot wire. And so all that ends up being our airflow value. Listen, we'll talk a lot more about that whenever we get into math-specific tuning, but pretty simple, pretty easy. Now, the other mode of tuning that we have, that as we talked about earlier, is kind of used interchangeably as VE versus SD. Volumetric efficiency, very straightforward. You've got a big table on here, and it's split up this way. You've got all your rows, all of your columns, and then you're going to have a value that is 0 to 100%. Unless it's a modified VE like GMVE. But at the basis of it, the 0 to 100% value represents the displacement of the motor. So we've got a 6.2 liter. Oops. At 100%, we're moving 6.2 liters of air. Makes sense? 50%, we're moving 3.1 liters of air. So we might be 100 down here at wide open throttle. We may be around 50 here in the middle. And then at idle, we might be, 5 to 10. Probably going to be higher than 5 to 10. But you can see as our RPMs go up, so we've got RPMs. And then over here, we've got our manifold air pressure, our MAP sensor. So as our pressure goes up closer to atmospheric and our RPMs go up, we are achieving more efficiency on the motor. Now, the only difference is that speed density uses the same RPMs and manifold air pressure, but instead of being a calculation of the displacement of the motor, it is generally directly attributed to how much fueling is required at that section. So speed density is kind of the old school way of doing it. VE is the newer way of doing it. And the cool thing about it is from our standpoint, we really don't care. It all kind of matches out. So where in speed density, we're looking down here and we're applying a specific fueling. VE, we're capturing the air measurement once again and converting that into fueling. So that takes care of two of the main things in our triangle. We've got our triangle here. This is what is required for combustion. We've got air, fuel, and spark. We've covered air and fuel up here already. So last but not least, we've got spark that we've got to talk about. Now, spark is a little tricky. It is a little bit trickier than some of the other things in there. And what we're talking about in that is we're looking at timing, and it's called timing because we're looking at the position of the crank, the piston in the bore, things like that to ignite the fuel. So we've got our piston here. See, I'll try and make this a little bit better of a drawing. And it's going up in compressing on the compression stroke. The ideal time to ignite the fuel is so that we get the explosion just a couple degrees after top dead center to drive that piston down. Now, there's a lot that goes into the timing side of things, because you got to remember, as the RPMs go up, this piston is actually moving faster. And so because it's moving faster, we don't need as much timing to hit that ideal goal after TDC in order to get the maximum explosion, driving the piston down and getting us the most amount of energy or power out of it. So slower RPMs, we advance the timing a little bit more because it's going slower, the piston's moving slower, it takes more time to get up to top dead center than back down from top dead center. But be aware that that's kind of the role that timing plays. We're not going to go much deeper than that into this video, but I highly suggest going out there and learning more about the Otto cycle, the 4-stroke combustion cycle, to understand how timing plays a factor in it, because timing is what gets us into a lot of different situations such as knock, detonation, things like that. Now, timing alone doesn't necessarily create knock, but having timing correct within the constraints of our air intake temperatures, our fueling, things like that is very important. This is why generally timing is one of the last things that I adjust. I always get the fueling dialed in nice and safe, then go back and start ramping in timing, because as I said, it's hardest to understand. We'll go in on all of these topics and talk more in depth in the future. But for now, I just wanted to touch on the fundamentals. These are the things that you really need to understand. That's the big thing about tuning. Whenever we get into tuning, the more that we understand, the easier this process is. So don't rush ahead into a topic that's hard to understand. Figure out how air is calculated on our platform, how that air calculation is then changed over to an amount of fuel that's being delivered, and then how timing all comes into play to light off the combustion cycle. And that's it. That's all a motor is at the end of the day. It's everything else is additive to that. Boost, nitrous, any of that stuff is still based within the foundations and fundamentals that we just talked about. So you can see how from a daily driver all the way up to, say, a 2,000 horsepower race car, why it's important to understand these fundamentals. Fuel, air, spark. Get your head wrapped around that, and you're going to have no issues moving on and learning more about tuning. Listen, I'm going to get back to it. There will be more videos coming out where we jump into specific topics like mass airflow, things like that. If you haven't subscribed, get down there, hit that button. Don't want to miss out on this. Don't forget the live show on Thursday nights. If you have any questions, jump in on Thursday night. All questions are open, just jump in. It's a fun time. It's a fun time. But listen, I'm going to get back to it. You guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT, always be tuning.